You are listening to Match Betting Insights, brought to you by OddsMonkey. This is an all-new podcast, which will be covering all aspects of match betting and will hopefully become a new piece of the jigsaw in your match betting life. Today's podcast, we're going to be looking at a life after signups. So I said, thanks for joining us today. We're delighted you could come on board. And if you haven't had a chance to try OddsMonkey's premium service yet, then we'll give you a chance to do so with a little help from us. We have a sign-up code PODOFFER, that's PODOFFER, which gets you 10 full days of OddsMonkey premium for just £1, giving you full access to all the offers and the guides and all the tools to make money on match betting. Don't worry if you haven't got that all down. We'll repeat this again at the end of today's podcast. Today, I'm going to be chatting with Phil from Tricky Bet, and we're going to be talking about your match betting life after signups. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us today, Phil. So, yeah, as we're talking about life after signups. As many match bettors know, there's plenty of signups around, and you do come to an end of them. And Phil, with signups, I think there's about nearly 100 on OddsMonkey at the minute, and there's lots of people who will get to 20, 30 and try and then become match betting, which they are capable of doing. But with signups, it's really important to do them all, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when we do the signups, it is very tempting to move on from them before you've done them all. But make sure you do them all, because there is about, at the time of this recording, there's about £800 worth of value in the signups, and that is the money that you're going to be able to have available for your reload offers in your exchange account. Not only that, all the signups are going to teach you what you need to know for match betting. So they're all the offers are slightly different. You might have to do an ACCA for one might be a risk-free bet, whatever. But all these things are going to teach you the ropes of match betting, and they're going to have you're going to have all your accounts open, and you're going to be fully prepared to move into a wide variety of reload offers.
And obviously with the sign-ups, a lot of people presume life is over, and as you mentioned, the £800 there from all the sign-ups. But what needs to be drummed into people, isn't it? That 800, that's just the start of your match betting adventure, isn't it? There's plenty of people making thousands a month. It's genuine life.
When you start £800 is nice to make, but after then, you're going to go on to make many times that amount from the reload offers. So the main point to get across is, don't think you're finished when the signups are done. There's so much more to do, more to learn, and a lot more money to be made from match betting.
Great, and obviously Phil's going to be going through a few things today. And Phil, so talking to someone, we've sat there, we've done our 80 or so signups, and sometimes you can sit and look at OddsMonkey and think, what next? But it's quite simple, isn't it? You're a huge fan of the daily offer in the calendar, and it's there for a good reason, isn't it? It's the first port of call. It's the first port of call for professional match bettors, isn't it? It's there for everyone, from the beginner to the man making thousands of pounds a month. The daily offer calendar is invaluable, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, every day what I'll do is I'll sign on and check the daily offer calendar. And you've got a whole bunch of filters on the calendar there, but the most important one is your profit filter. If you set that to guaranteed profit and click refresh, it's going to bring up to the top of the calendar all the offers that are guaranteed profit. So what I like to do is just start making my way through them. It's like £5, £5, £3, £7. Just get all those done. They're your bread and butter every day. Get those done. That's guaranteed money you can make. And then once you've done those, you can move on to your potentials and prioritize the best potentials. Just get your bets on. And if you're short on time, you maybe only have a short amount of time to do this every day or every week, just prioritize your guaranteed profit. I mean, there's so much money to be made every single day.
And obviously with the daily offer calendar, Phil, there's it's not just sport, there's all sorts of offers, isn't there? It's a good testing ground, isn't it? You might do your 70 sign-ups, but it's almost a good place. You'll come across an offer you've never come across before and really enjoy it, won't you? It's a good testing ground as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we talk about the sign-ups teaching you the ropes, but there's definitely more to learn after that. And some of the reload offers, they mix it up a little bit. There's different things you have to do, but you might have to learn a new technique. But obviously, we have all the guides there on the site. They're on the daily offer calendar. You can go and talk about them in the community if you're still stuck, or ask the support team. But yeah, I mean, I'm just looking through the calendar there. There's just so much guaranteed profit to be made every single day.
And obviously, with the daily offer calendar, it's a very big place, and every day we're getting more and more offers. And to look at it, there's many ways of narrowing it down. And one of the good things is paying attention to the big events going on. So this week, for instance, we've had the Champions League come back, we've had Europa League return, we've got the Rugby World Cup starting, we've got the Premier League back again this weekend, and that's always quite a little reminder for you, isn't it, that there's going to be offers around those big events, isn't there?
Yeah, of course, there's going to be certain times of the week and certain times of the month and even certain times of the year that you want to going to look more closely at what offers are available. You made a good point about the Champions League being on this week. There's always good offers for the Champions League games, and it's becoming more popular for them to do offers on Europa League now as well. Obviously, the weekends are important because we have Premier League football. You get some of the best offers around your big Premier League football games. Yeah, on a weekend, we also have ITV racing, so the horse racing offers get a lot better on a weekend. And then if you look over your yearly calendar, obviously you've got your big sporting events like your Grand Slams in tennis, maybe there might be a World Cup on, big Formula One race. All these big events are going to have more offers attached to them.
And obviously, as you mentioned in the forum before, Phil, again, some of the people listening who've completed all the sign-ups may not be completely aware of the forum, but the forum is a home to thousands of other match bettors and also all the OddsMonkey staff. And there's threads on there, isn't there, talking about certain things like, for instance, price boosts, isn't there? And it's a valuable resource, isn't it, the forum? Even if you're not going to go in there and talk yourself, to look in there, there's a lot of information there to be had.
Yeah, so one of the best things you can do once you've moved on from your sign-ups, you looked at your daily offer calendar, you've got those out of the way. So one thing you can be doing, just dipping in and out of throughout the day, is price boosts. Now there's a big thread on the community, and what you can do is you can follow that thread and get alerts when there's a new post on that thread. So there's instructions on the community, but you can set it up so you get an alert on your phone with something called push bullet. And we try to restrict that thread so the only posts that are going into that thread are price boosts. And then it's when you get an alert on your phone that you know there's a new price boost, check it out, get on it. There's around £500 worth of value every single month from price boosts. So if you can get on as many as them as you can, that money's just going to add up, and they're so easy to do. It's just literally back and lay, and you've made some money.
And obviously, there, Phil, you were talking about Champions League, Premier League football, and you mentioned the horse racing. And football and horse racing really is the bread and butter, isn't it, for match betting? And you don't have to be interested particularly in either sport to be. That's the whole thing about match betting, isn't it? It's about maths. It's not about sport. So even horse racing stuff, the threads and the guides are there to explain, isn't it? You don't have to be an expert in the sport, do you?
No, not at all. And I think it's particularly important in horse racing to try and take the emotion out of it. Just ignore what you think you know about horse racing. Don't think you have to bet on the favourite or anything like that. Just take what's the best match. So every day there's a load of horse racing offers. So one of the things you're going to be looking at every day is the horse racing. And we've got offers like refund if you second, refund if you lose. Bet365 do one where if you back a horse at over 4-1 and it wins, you get a free bet. Refund if the starting price favourite wins. There's so many different things that all these offers. And basically, so the thing with a lot of these offers is they aren't guaranteed profit. So you need to be taking good matches on them because they're just potential profit. But we've proven time and time again over a long period of time, if you do enough of these offers, you are going to make money. They will come in. Refund if second is a great one. You back and lay a horse, take a small qualifying loss, maybe even no qualifying loss if you've got 0%. If it comes second, you've made £20. If it doesn't, you've lost nothing. But the more of these bets you can get on, the more chance you've got of making money. And because there's so many horse racing offers every day, these are just things you can just go in and just get some bets on, get yourself qualified for the offers and see what comes back from them.
And I say going back to daily offer calendar, all these offers on daily offer calendar, aren't they, Phil? The refunds, all the little ones, no matter how little they are there for you to look at, isn't it? So, and you can filter down on sport and stuff. So they are there for you to look at, aren't they? And people need to getting into a habit, isn't it, of checking that daily offer calendar.
Yeah, you can check the calendar, and they also all go on the community as well. So if you're more into just reading the community, they all go on there, and obviously people are commenting and offering advice and tips, and that's a good thing about the horse. Like, we have a thread every day for the horse racing. All the offers are at the top, obviously, but then underneath, like, the helpful community members are posting good matches. So if they spot a good match on a horse, they'll post it up, and then you can go and take advantage of that as well, and get your offers on for really low qualifying losses and make the offers just that much more value.
And as I say, the horse racing and football, Phil, is the bread and butter. We know that for a thing, but there's more and more sports coming online now, isn't there? We've got NFL, tennis, and even golf as well. We've got toys to use, tools to use in there for stuff like golf as well. And again, golf is one of those. People may be frightened of it because they don't know much about it, but you can get some really good offers in there, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, one of the great offers around golf is extra places. So the bookies will go crazy with extra places on the golf tournaments. You can be up to 10 extra places. And we have the extra place matcher, and you can use that for horse racing and golf. So every day you can be doing horse racing extra places. These are just simple the simple back and layers, but you place an each way bet, but it's essentially just the same. And if your horse hits the extra place, you're going to make a load of money. If it doesn't, you're taking a small qualifying loss. But with the golf, you do need a bigger bank for the golf ones generally, but the payouts are potentially massive on the extra places on golf, and because there's so many extra places, you've got a really good chance of hitting them. So it's definitely worth checking out the extra place matcher when there's a golf tournament on. But it is something you can look at every single day for the horses as well. If there's a good match on there, you might as well get on it, because extra places are really lucrative.
And that's what we're saying. That's the whole point of today's chat, isn't it, Phil? We're saying life after sign-ups. There's so much stuff. And obviously we're just talking horse racing, golf, football, but there's plenty of other things. And there's a thing that, again, some of the people who've completed all the sign-ups might not be aware of, is match betting clubs. Now, this is a segment of match betting that has become very popular. It's really easy to do. And again, even if you've done all something, you may not come across it. It's one of my personal favourites. I think it's really good. I know a lot of people who aren't match bettors partake in it. And so match betting clubs, a quick oversight on that, Phil, and why people should be into these, because they really are very important.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is on the daily offer calendar, the weekly bet clubs, but you need to click through to the community to see the list of offers. But at the moment, there's over £70 of guaranteed profit a week just from weekly bet clubs. And the simplest example to use is Sky Bets. A lot of people have probably heard of Sky Bets weekly bet club. You need to place a £25 bet every week, and they will give you a £5 free bet. So that's £20 of free bet a month just from Sky. And loads of the bookies are doing offers similar to that. And all these little £5 add up. And like I say, at the minute, it's £72 a week. That's nearly £300 a month just from your bet clubs. And some of them are a little bit more fiddly to do than others, but if you're working through your way through the daily offer calendar on your day, and during the day, and you think, well, I've done all those now, not really got much else to do, go and spend some time getting your weekly bet club qualifying bets done.
I think it's a good little tactic on the match betting club, isn't it? Everyone's different, but like, say, a Sunday quiet day, do all your match betting clubs and qualify yourself, isn't it? Give yourself that. It's a bit of organisation with the betting clubs, isn't it? Because you got to be qualified for it, but work out your least busy day, and then you can do all your betting clubs in one day, in theory, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, and I mean, the other thing to mention about the betting clubs as well is some of them you have to opt into them. So Sky Bet, you have to opt in, but you might not even need to go and specifically place a bet to qualify for it, because Sky Bet are doing other offers during the week. If you're opted into the bet club, you're going to qualify for your £5 free bet because you did another offer on the horse racing or something like that. So just make sure you're opted into them, and you'll qualify for a lot of them anyway. And it's just all extra money in your pocket for doing nothing.
Yeah, it's a great reminder on the Match Betting Club. So it's one some people may not come across them even with all the sign-ups. So it really is one to look out for. And again, we're coming back to this is mainly we're talking to people who've completed all the offers and this is fun. The guys who may be a bit overconfident, because that is a warning as well, where you can do all the offers and still get caught out here. Match betting, there's certain levels in there, and even when you've done all your 70 ones, you could still get caught out by some of the more complicated offers out there, Phil. There's quite a lot of offers around casinos, etc., and they still need to be careful, don't they, when they've done them all?
Yeah, of course. You constantly learn, and it's easy to make mistakes. I mean, the important thing about mistakes is not to dwell on them. You know, I've made them. You might lose a little bit of money from a mistake, but you know you're going to make that back a million times over if you keep going with your match betting. But the point is, if you're not sure on how an offer works, read the community, read the guide, and just ask the support team. That's what they're there for. You can email them, you can ask them on the community, and they'll get back to you and explain it.
Yeah, I said again, just emphasising, even with the sign-ups, the forum is there, and it's not to be frightened of the forum, is it? There's a lot of experts on there, a lot of people who know so much, not just the staff, but people who've been doing this for decades, isn't there? So it's don't be shy, isn't it? And for generally, they're here to help, aren't they? And things like you'll see it mentioned 2up casino offers. If you need the help, ask, isn't it? Because there's really good offers out there, but if you're not sure, I find you find out a lot of the time where people talk say about 2up, which we will come to in another podcast. But generally, it's things like the 2up, Phil. It's a lot of conversations, isn't it?
Definitely, 2up's a bit of a beast on the community, and that's because it's such an important offer. Like you say, we're going to do another full podcast just on 2up because it's that much of an important offer. But it is something that you want to look at and learn how to do it. It's not complicated at all, and you can make some really big profits on 2up. To make the big profits, you have to have a bigger bank. So that's why don't just jump straight into things like 2up, even though they are really popular. Build your bank up to a level where you've got the money to do 2up and reap the benefits of that. The other thing you mentioned there was casino offers. Again, we'll do a podcast on this in the coming weeks. But there's a lot of risk-free casino offers, so don't be afraid of them. If it's risk-free, it might be a casino saying he's 10 free spins. Just go and do them. You never know what you're gonna win. I know Susie Beth, one of the OddsMonkey staff members, had some risk-free spins and she won a massive amount of money. She dropped the jackpot on a slot. So I mean, the chance of that happening is pretty rare, but that's just an example. It does happen. There's also low risk offers on there. They aren't guaranteed profit, and you might lose. But we have something called expected value, which we'll talk about in another podcast. And that's expected value is something that the bookmakers use to calculate their profits from people playing casinos. If the expected value is positive, you are essentially in the same position as the casino is, where you are going to make money from that offer by doing it over a long period of time. So you can trust the maths behind that. But again, it's something you want to do once you've built your bank up, because there's a little bit of variance in them. Sometimes you might lose, sometimes you might win, but over time, it's just more steady profits.
And again, obviously, as we're going, Phil, there's new bookmakers appearing all the time. There's many disappearing as well. And it's just always that's a golden rule: is double check the small print, isn't it? Double check the guides. You think you get overly confident, but you need to check in all the time, don't you? Like that's what we're trying to emphasise, Phil. There's life after it. But be careful. That's why OddsMonkey's here. You don't just do your 70 sign-ups and then you're set free into the wild world and you're by yourself. You need to keep OddsMonkey's here for the lifespan of it, isn't it? You need to keep coming back. But that's what we're here for, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. You made a great point about the new sign-ups. I mean, there's bookies opening every week now, and on the face of it, the offers might be as simple as they seem. Bet 10, get 10, whatever, but you need to delve into the terms and conditions. There might be rollover that you're not aware of and stuff like that. And that's where OddsMonkey comes in with a detailed guides, and it's going to break down exactly what you need to do to extract the profit from it. But not only that, it's just it makes you aware that these offers are available. I mean, I was looking on there this morning. There's sign-ups on there that I still need to do. They're so simple as well. And it's just the most important thing to do is check back from time to time. Is there any new sign-ups to do? Because they're just easy money.
And on the forum as well, you get the ratings as well, because obviously there's a few bookmakers, we're not going to call them dodgy, but there's some who don't like paying out as well, isn't there? And the forum are there as well. It's a good backup filter, isn't it? It's a good fail-safe. If you're not sure about an offer and you think it sounds dodgy, someone will be talking about it on the forum already.
Yeah, I mean, ask on the forum. I mean, what we try to do, we try to vet these things before we put them on OddsMonkey. So if there's an offer on OddsMonkey, it's generally safe to do, but bookmakers change the behavior all the time. Some of them will introduce really strict withdrawal policies. They want you to send them your birth certificate or your driving license, stuff like that. And that can be a pain. So it is something some bookmakers will make you do, and it's just something that you need to grind through and get it done. However, if you're aware of that beforehand, at least you know that you're going to have, it's another thing that you're going to have to do to make the money.
So very much have a folder on your computer with your passport, your driving license, an update bill. It'd be very useful folder to have when it comes to withdrawing your money. But obviously we're talking about the bookmakers being a bit funny at times, Phil. It brings us on a subject of gubbing, where you lose your account. Not lose your account, but it stops you getting the offers, etc. This happens to everyone. It happens to very first timers. You can end up getting gubbed or ones who are earning thousands. Again, we are going to do a separate podcast on gubbing, but again, there is life after. People think the sign-ups, that's done justice. Same with gubbing. There's always much betting to be had, isn't there, even if you are gubbed on a few.
Yeah, like you say, gubbing is just part of your match betting experience. If it does happen to you, don't dwell on it. Just move on to the next bookmaker. There's plenty of them out there. But there are things you can do, and this is part of your match betting journey, learning to try and avoid getting gubbed in the first place. So if you just go to a bookmaker and all you do is the offers, that bookmaker is eventually going to get you on your radar as somebody who's just there for offers. You're a bonus abuser. So there's things you can do, and again, we'll talk about this in an upcoming podcast, but there's definitely things you can do to keep your account healthy, if you like, and keep those offers coming long term. You want your accounts nice and healthy so you can get match betting offers for years and years and years. You don't want to have them closed just after a few months. But even if you're really careful, it is something that you have to deal with. But generally, like I said, we've just said there's new bookmakers opening all the time. If you lose one, you go and open the next one. Don't let it get you down too much.
That's great. So thanks for joining us again today, Phil. That's us for today on today's podcast, Life After Sign-Ups. We hope you find it really useful. There's going to be a few more coming. This is Match Betting Insight, the podcast. We're going to have quite a lot more web podcasts coming. There's going to be webinar series as well. It's just a little help for you. Hopefully you will find it useful. And again, just remind you that offer we've got. If you're not an OddsMonkey Premium member at the minute, we have this offer that you can sign up, get the full experience, which is what you need to match bet, really. So if you use pod offer, POD or FFER, you can get OddsMonkey for £1 for 10 days. And it gives you everything you want, as we're discussing the forum, etc., and all the staff members. So again, thanks for joining us today, and we're back again for another Match Betting Insight very shortly.